Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand, the fan channel for the club, the only club that has a treble, an FA Cup, a Premier League and a Champions League treble in its history. Yes, Manchester City have blown it, and yes, I'm very, very happy about it. And some people would, look, I don't care. Let them cry. We're going to be talking about HAALAND'S dream transfer. We're going to be talking about Dembele. We're going to be talking about whether we're going to see Van der Beek used over the next few weeks. We'll also talk about the Rashford effect as well. But anybody who tries to say, if you're a United fan that celebrated Chelsea winning tonight, if you're a United fan that's feeling good that Man City didn't win today, I don't think you're a United fan if you didn't. Because I lived 99. Most people who did live that will feel the same. People who didn't live that should feel the same. The 99 treble is the greatest thing in our history. It is. As an achievement, it's the greatest thing. It supersedes anything that we've ever done. It was iconic. It was historic. It was pure fantasy football. That season was amazing. So many twists and turns. So many epic moments. So much effort. And to have that in jeopardy in this season where we've basically shortened the season, everyone's playing 3 times a week, and you've got this one team that is a fantastic team under Pep Guardiola, but is funded by endless money. Their bench is better than everyone else's first team. They can just rotate and beat everybody. There's no fans in the ground. I mean, the advantage they had to win a quadruple, let's be honest, a quadruple, was huge. 3 games a week with a squad like they've got with no fans in the ground, they were going to do it. And I was convinced they were going to do it. And they bottled it. And football's the winner and Manchester United's the winner. And I'll celebrate that. Because if they go and do it next year, when there's fans in the ground over a proper 9-month season, I'll hate it, but I'll respect it more than this year. It could never happen this year. Because if they'd done it, it would have been wrong. It's like if they'd done the Invincibles, it would have been wrong. It's wrong that any record gets done this year because this is not a normal year. You cannot say we're treble winners when you've been away in Europe to empty stadiums, or 19 away games in the Premier League to empty stadiums. It would have gone in the record books, and Gary Lineker and co would have said it was amazing, but the reality is it would have been hollow. But we would have had to listen to it forever. And United now retain what's real, a real treble. And maybe somebody will do it in the future, I'm not convinced, but it won't be happening this year, and City bottled it. So I'm really, really happy about it. Sancho says, keep crying. I'm crying. I'm crying laughter, mate. I'm crying. Why am I crying? Man City, you bottled it. You bottled it. There will never be another year where you've got a super squad playing 3 times a week with no one in the ground. You might have no one in the ground for your home games, but away games there'll be fans there. You bottled it. We've already done it, mate. We might be a bit shit at the moment, and we are, and that is sad, but we've already done it. We won the treble, and many of us lived it, and it was bloody brilliant. There's no greater feeling in the world than when that final whistle goes when you've won the Champions League and you've won a treble. There's no greater feeling in the world. It's brilliant. I stayed up all night. It was absolutely brilliant. The whole season was amazing. You know what? I feel sorry for fans of other clubs that will never get anywhere near that. It was unbelievable. It was brilliant, and I'll never forget it, and I'll always feel it. It was absolutely superb, and you've blown it. You won't do it, but then again, you don't deserve to do it. Thanks everyone anyway. It is really important. I don't know whether all of you get it. I don't know whether you get it, but I get it, and a lot of other people get it, because that season was unbelievable, epic. And it matters. And look, let's be honest, before we talk about Haaland's dream transfer and the rebuild of Manchester United, let's be honest, there is an element of sadness to this, that we were reliant on Chelsea, that we could have been reliant on PSG. We're not now, because Chelsea have already stopped it, but United didn't do anything to stop it. You know, that is a little bit sad. It is a bit sad that we've got to celebrate Chelsea doing it because our own club didn't do it. Like, we could have stopped them in the FA Cup. We bottled it against Leicester. There's a big question mark over some of these players and the board. Of course there is, because they don't seem to get what we get. I wonder if there's many United players tonight really, really overjoyed that Chelsea have done that. Or is it just a fan thing? Does the club matter more to the fans now than it does to the board? I'm pretty sure it does. But yeah, we should have stopped it ourselves. We should have stopped Liverpool winning the league last year. We didn't. You know, these records and these things are happening. And United still exist. It's not like we've retired on our records. You know, we're not like a boxer who retires and then you're watching somebody else break your records. We're still here. Man United is still here, and that is a bit sad, to be honest. I must admit, but you take what you can get. We're the best screw skitty, United for life, says Rudy Cox. Anyway, look, let's get on with the show. So, Haaland's dream transfer, Manchester United transfer news. So, AS, which is a Spanish outlet, are saying that Haaland's dream transfer is Madrid, Real Madrid. That's where he wants to go. And if there is no Champions League football at Dortmund, he'll be forcing a move out of Dortmund. However, it also says that there is a question mark about whether Real Madrid could actually afford him. Now, also, another story coming out this morning from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic saying that Haaland is Manchester United's #1 transfer target. We've heard this loads of times now. There's some confusion about whether it's our #1 transfer target or whether it's our #1 striker target. There is no confusion there. If Erling Haaland is our #1 striker target, he's our #1 transfer target. Do you want to know why he's our #1 transfer target? Because you can't just say, well, Haaland's the #1 transfer target, but Varane's the #1 centre-back target, because that's 250 million. Haaland is the #1 target. If he's our #1 transfer target, he's our #1 target because he's going to cost 175 million quid. So I don't know where this is coming from. All I do know where it's coming from. It's coming from Laurie Whitwell. It's coming from the Manchester Evening News. It's coming from numerous outlets that Erling Haaland is our #1. Sorry, Mark. I was 1 year of age in '99. Just saying, doesn't matter. Well, doesn't matter, mate. As a United fan, it's still your achievement. I'm taking a hollow Champions League win this year as the blue side crumbles, says Leaf. And PSG will win the Champions League, Spurs the Carabao, Chelsea the FA Cup, and United win the league. Imagine, Danny, imagine. I think we might be dreaming for that. But at least Chelsea stopped the treble. That's all I can say about that one. But in relation to Haaland, just I can't really say anything more about this. It just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense to me why we are going after Erling Haaland. And I can't repeat it because, you know, I'm sounding like UK Gold, but why is Erling Haaland our #1 transfer target? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. I just wonder whether the positivity of the media clicks or something is what United are looking for here. Or let's get attached to a big signing because it makes us look good. Like, it makes no sense. I can't understand why. Your mind sort of wanders into the category that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is offered Haaland, but he's offered Sancho and Varane, he goes for Haaland. Would he do that? That's scary that I don't know whether he would. It's totally speculation, but it just seems we're fixated on this one expensive player that won't solve all the other problems that we've got that are more important than that. We've already seen this last couple of games that if you provide Cavani with the goals, he'll score it. Therefore, so will Greenwood. So why do we need a striker when we've got a striker that's taken the chances anyway? We need a bloody centre defensive midfielder. We need a centre back, and we need a creative winger. So hopefully that is something that we're going to look at. But I do get worried about the constant speculation around Erling Haaland. Although Laurie Whitwell did say as well that the second choice is Harry Kane. Well, Harry Kane's gone off injured again today. I can't keep repeating this about Harry Kane as well. Spurs would want 150 million. Harry Kane is now in his late 20s. Every year he's getting a couple of injuries and he's out for like 6 weeks a season. Why would you spend 150 million pounds on a very, very good striker, a world-class striker, by the way, who is consistently getting injured every season? And again, I worry. I'm worried about this transfer window. I think we're all worried at different levels, but I worry about the experience in that football club. Like, I think Solskjaer's had a great season, but is he the man who's going to go, I want Haaland over anything else? Or is he, has he got the nous to go, I'd like Haaland, but I really do need a centre-back and a CDM before I go for that, so I'm not going to have it? I don't know. Is he, if he's offered Harry Kane, going to take it, even though Harry Kane's got injury concerns and they're becoming more and more prevalent? I mean, look at De Bruyne today. De Bruyne is probably one of the best players in the world. He's getting more and more injury prone. Every season, De Bruyne seems to miss 6 to 8 weeks with injuries because he's getting older. United need to box clever. We need to bring players into this club that other clubs are jealous of, but are also going to play a lot of games for us. We can't have any more Eric Bays or Phil Jones or Diogo Dalot's or Cavani's, who really good players, some of them, but injury prone. Mark, Manchester is red, Merseyside is red, and London is red, says Gary. I was asleep when we won the Champions League, promptly woken up when the living room went absolutely berserk. 1 year old, but I can say I was there, says Kieran. Greenwood is ours, give it a wait. He is definitely stepping up and soon, says Leaf. I agree. I think in Mason Greenwood we have got a striker. I don't know why he's a striker. So why go and spend 150 million quid on somebody? I think, look, if I had my way, Erling Haaland would sign for Real Madrid, and Harry Kane would stay at Spurs, and then we wouldn't have to spend that amount of money on a striker, and we could spend it on positions that I'm 100% sure are more important to us than a striker. We need to spot about, I want Varane at centre-back and I want Declan Rice at CDM. Then next year, let's go and buy a striker. But those two positions are ultra important, I believe. Well, Scholesy said, reverberates within me. I think we need Declan Rice to give Pogba and Fernandes the freedom they deserve. I'm sure this United side can be transformed. And I agree with you, Karen, on that. I do. We're going to go all out on Haaland for 150 million. We could have had Haaland last summer for 30 million if we went all out. Makes no sense to me. And that's the thing, Dazzo. The Haaland thing makes no sense. I was reading something today that Riola was a bit of an arsehole in relation to Manchester United's interest when he went to Dortmund a year ago when Haaland went there. But you know what? I feel it's not only is the Haaland story nonsensical, it doesn't make any sense. But on top of that, it's the same regurgitated stuff as well. All anybody seems to talk about is that Solskjaer's key to the Haaland deal because he gets on with him. He scouted him at Mulder. He helped nurture him at Mulder. He keeps in contact with him. He gets Christmas cards from him. And it's like, we all know that Haaland and Solskjaer have a relationship, a good relationship. This is very, very well known. But it seems to be a factor this summer. Beyond where's the £150 million coming from, and beyond the most important thing, Solskjaer had a relationship with him when he went to Dortmund, and he still chose Dortmund. So why are we egging up this Solskjaer and Haaland relationship when it didn't work from stopping him going to Dortmund? So it doesn't make any sense. I can't get my head around it. And the only thing I can say is maybe something is going to happen, because it makes no sense why we're constantly being linked to a player. And also, you know what would annoy me? Imagine if we did spend 150 million on Haaland, which is actually 175 when you add in the wages. Where's that 175 million come from? And are we going to buy anybody else as well? And if we do buy anybody else, where's that money been for the last 3 years? And if we don't buy anybody else, where's this £150 million come from as well? It's like, it makes no sense on so many different levels. Like, where's the money coming from? Why does Solskjaer's relationship make any sense anyway? Because he chose to ignore that relationship a year ago. So, look, I want to see a real summer, and I want to see an improvement. And look, we might have had a very lucky escape this year that Man City didn't win a treble. They might go and do it next year. Are we going to be more of a challenge next year? Or are we going to keep sitting on our hands, waiting for everybody else to smack us round the face and do us a favour? We've got to go and grab the opportunities ourselves. And I think that team, I think about that Leicester result. It wasn't that long ago. I know we've done well recently, but that Leicester result wasn't that long ago, was it? It was only, 3-4 weeks ago that we lost to Leicester. We were awful. Absolutely awful. So we do need to improve, and we know we need to improve, and we've got to start being masters of our own destiny. And to do that, I think you've got to build a team, and hopefully we will do that. Another player that we've been linked to is Ousmane Dembele again. This is coming out of Italy, Calciomercato, and they're saying that Manchester United and Juventus have long been frontrunners in the race for Ousmane Dembele of Barcelona. Now, this is a player that obviously we very nearly got hold of at the start of the season. We spent all summer trying to get Jadon Sancho. We messed it up, and we desperately tried to get Ousmane Dembele in on the last day of the transfer window, if you remember. We couldn't get the deal done because he didn't want to come, and we didn't want to pay money. We wanted a loan deal, so it didn't happen. But obviously there is an interest there, and it's a very real interest, just the same as Sancho. There is a real interest in Ousmane Dembele from Manchester United. Now, he's another player who's got 1 year left on his contract. Barcelona want to keep him. He's had a good season for Barcelona, but he did have another hamstring injury in December. I don't know what he's doing at the moment, whether he's fit or not, but apparently Manchester United and Juventus are racing hard for him. Now, again, I think he's another one, a bit like Erling Haaland, that doesn't make any sense and is actually quite scary. A lot of people really like him. There's no doubt he's a quality player, and he could come to United and be a superstar, but he has got breadstick hamstrings. Fact. He has a lot of hamstring injuries, and he's in his early 20s. Ryan Giggs was at this club. I know what players are like with hamstrings. They don't suddenly become good. They'll have it for the rest of their career. So, again, I don't know why United are obsessing about a player that's got a bad injury record. I mean, it just seems to me like, do we ever learn? Moneyball, I don't know whether you've ever seen the film, but basically it's statistical analysis to buy players. Like, they crunch the numbers on all sorts of things. Well, Liverpool adopted a very similar thing to this when Klopp came in. Remember that summer they had where they brought a load of players in, and remember like when Liverpool have been really successful over the last 3 years, we're always sat there going, how do they get away with it? How is it that Mane and Salah and Firmino are always fit? How do they get away with it? And a lot of it was to do with that when they buy a player, they overanalyze everything about them, and especially injury record. They'll look at the club they're buying from, they'll look at that player's record for that club, and they'll look at how many injuries they've had, how susceptible they are to injury, and this is why Klopp's been very successful. Now, they've burnt out now, admittedly, but I wouldn't mind burning out in year 4 if I'd won a Champions League and a Premier League. So Man United need to think about this in their recruitment. It's very, very important. And I think when you look at Bruno Fernandes, very good signing anyway, but Bruno Fernandes' injury record before he came to United is he never gets injured. So a very, very good signing there. But as I said, Eric Bailly, 3 injuries the season before we bought him. Dalot, we bought injured. Dembele, you're buying it, Cavani, loads of injuries in the last 18 months, been at United, 3 separate injuries. So you buy what you get. And doing our research is really important because we're trying to close gaps here. We're not trying to maintain a gap, we're trying to close gaps. So we need to be better than everybody else. All base, no treble. Pogba has boosted morale in a major way. Mourinho keeps saying, I sink. He is sinking. Varane over Haaland any day. Enough Riola, Goldbridge, Man United football director, says James Mahuti. Thanks for the super chat, James. Well, you know what? I think the positive weekend will continue tomorrow because I think we will beat Burnley tomorrow, and that will always be a good thing. As I said last night, the first time we've beaten Burnley home and away since 1975, and the first time we've beaten them at Old Trafford in 3 years. So we'll win tomorrow. I'm confident. I think we're having a good weekend, surprisingly good weekend, but I think it will be a good weekend, and I think we will win tomorrow. But there is a bit of positivity around United at the moment, and that feeds quite nicely into what I wanted to talk about. I was reading an article today, I think it was in the Manchester Evening News, and they were talking about the opportunity for Solskjaer to use some of these new signings over the next few weeks, Van der Beek and Diallo, as things become a little bit more relaxed. I also saw something today about... Oh, it was unbelievable. It was basically... I can't remember where it was, so I can't quote... I can quote it, but I can't remember where it came from. But it was along the lines of... Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has not been able to use Van der Beek this season because we've played so many games that he's not been able to look at him properly in training. And I thought, what a crock of shit that is. Like, the contradictions are clearly there. I can't think of enough. But... we've really jumped the shark if we're trying to say that Ollie's not used Van der Beek because he's not been able to see what he's like in training. It's a nonsense. He came on in the first game of the season against Palace and scored. We never really used him after that. He has had cameos and done really well. Cavani came straight into the team and played up front. I would argue that playing in our midfield is easier than playing up front because up front is a bloody nightmare for United. So I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this at all. I think it's just an excuse to try and find a way. But it was genuine. I can't remember where I read it. I can probably find it for the morning show, but it was genuine. But what I did find interesting in the Manchester Evening News article, which was different to that one, it wasn't the same, is that they were saying that there is a possibility for Solskjaer to use Diallo and Van der Beek over the next few weeks. And I hope that there is. We're 7 points clear at the moment from in second place, and if we win tomorrow we'll be 10 points clear because Chelsea and Liverpool are not playing and Leicester are not playing because they've got an FA Cup game. So I would hope, look, the Europa League is going to be very important and we're going to put a strong team out in the Europa League, but I would hope that in some of the league games to come that we could start to use Van der Beek. Now some people will say, well, we might not do that until second place is confirmed. I think that would be a bit of a piss take to do that. I think that if you're waiting for second place to be confirmed before you play Diallo and Van der Beek, you're taking the piss out of Van der Beek and Diallo because you're basically saying, I'm only playing you when no damage can be done. That's no trust. I think a 7-point gap to second place is enough to start trying Van der Beek and Diallo because it gives them a bit of trust. It's like, don't go out there, it doesn't matter if we lose. I don't want to lose, I want to win. But I want to put you into a situation where it's a little bit more comfortable. So I think that hopefully we will see that. I don't know that we will, but I mean, I'd love to see Van der Beek starting tomorrow or against Leeds next week. I'd love to see Diallo getting a good half an hour or so, but there is an opportunity for Ollie to do that. These footballers have played a lot of football, and I think it's quite an important thing to say that if I just have a look at our final fixtures. Let's not forget, a lot of these players are going to be playing Europa League football. Not Europa League, well, they are going to play Europa League football, but we are going to be playing a lot of football between now and the end of the season. And a lot of them are going to be playing the Euros as well. And when you look at United's fixtures, we've got Burnley on Sunday, then we've got Leeds the following Sunday, so we've got a week off. Then we've got Roma on the Thursday, then we've got Liverpool on the Sunday, then we've got Roma on the Thursday, then we've got Villa on the Sunday, and then we've got Leicester, Fulham and Wolves. So we've still got another, bloody hell, we've got 3, 6, 9 games to go. 10 if you count the Europa League. And a lot of these players have already played nearly 50 games. So he should be looking to rotate over the next few weeks to do a favour. Scott McTominay will be playing in the Euros for Scotland. All the English boys will be playing in the Euros. Pogba will be playing. There's a lot of players that are going to be playing in the Euros that actually you could give them a little bit of a rest ahead of the Euros. And it will benefit us anyway, because by the time the Euros are over, some of our players will have been playing virtually over a year, apart from a month that we had in August. And then you're going to go into another season. So I think there's an opportunity for Solskjaer here to, really get people like really have a good look at people like the 3 players I really want to see us have at 4. I want to see us have a really good look at Twansebi, Telles, Van der Beek, Diallo. I want to see them getting as much game time as I can in the league between now and the end of the season, because you can make decisions about them for next season then. And it can also be used to rest. Harry Maguire will be playing in the Euros. Lindelof will be playing in the Euros. He's got a bad back. There's a lot of opportunity to do that. And I really hope that Solskjaer does do it. I know it sounds a bit fanciful because we know what he's like in relation to rotation. But I actually think it would be a reward for some of those players to be taken out and given a bit of a rest ahead of the Euros. And then these lads can have a go. So hopefully that will happen. Evander says, do you think that we now have a director of football and technical director? I've got a bit of shreddy stuck in my throat. There will be more communication about transfer news from Man United like Dortmund and Juventus do. No, I'd love it, Ayander. I know what you mean. I would love that to happen. I'd love Man United to be more vocal in how they deal with transfers. I think the way that the German clubs do it is really open, but I don't think we will. Not only Van der Beek, but also Ahmed. Had we tried Ahmed properly, we would have known whether to go for Sancho or not. Karan, I agree with you. I'm a little bit disappointed on that, but there is a little bit of time, I suppose, to do that, of course. Just on that though, I mean, I know I do want to grab a bit of opinion, so do chuck us some questions, but I do want to know. A few people have been talking about Marcus Rashford and saying that we're a better team without Rashford in it. I think that's really unfair because, Rashford has evidentially and factually put his body on the line for us this season a lot. He's not been playing fit for probably most of the season, really. And to say we're a better team without him is really unfair because he's been a massive player for this season. He has been inconsistent at times, but a lot of that's down to injury. He's scored a lot of goals for us, a lot of key goals for us, and there's no doubt that Marcus Rashford's one of our best players. So we're not a better team without him. But what I hope people mean by that is something I was on about before, is that we have started creating more chances for Cavani since we've not been playing Rashford and Greenwood. When we've had Bruno at 10 and Pogba on the wing, we've started to create more chances. And that's because we've got 2 creatives in the final 4 instead of 1 creative in the final 4. And that's because Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford are fantastic players, but they're very similar on both wings. We've basically got 2 forwards on the wing who want to run in and shoot. Well, that doesn't provide any service for Cavani. So if you take one of those out and you put a Pogba there or a Van der Beek there, you've suddenly got another player like Bruno who doesn't mind scoring a goal but actually wants to be creative. So Cavani's chances will go up because instead of Bruno being the creator, you've now got Bruno and Pogba being creative, which means there's more chances for Cavani. Whereas if it's Rashford and Greenwood, they are basically strikers they're wide forwards and they want to score goals themselves, so that doesn't necessarily help Cavani out. And yeah, Greenwood put a cross in for Cavani the other day when he came off the bench, but it hasn't been their game to do that. So I think we do miss Rashford, but I think it's interesting what we have been doing over the last few games with this Pogba playing in a more advanced role. And I think Van der Beek could play there, and I still want to see Pogba playing in a deeper role because I think that's what he does more of that from central. But I think it's an interesting. I think it's interesting actually how that has panned out and how it's benefited Cavani more to have Pogba and Bruno creating things for him, which I think is interesting. Do I think Ollie will stick with that? It'll be interesting to see what he does tomorrow, because you're going to play probably Cavani up front. If he brings Rashford back in, does that mean that we abandon the Pogba in the more advanced role and go back to Pogba in the midfield role? Which I don't mind, but I think will we go back to not creating enough chances for Cavani? It'll be interesting. Goldbridge, aka Roy Keane with a green screen, says Kieran Landrigan. Thanks for the super chat. Rashford's decision making has been off recently, but can't blame him too much. He's been playing at 70% fitness, says JB. I think he's probably been playing below 70%, to be honest with you. But I think that if you look at Manchester City, I always think Man City are a better team when they've got, and also you'd have Sterling, but then you'd have Bernardo Silva. And I think Bernardo Silva is a creative off the wing. And then they've got De Bruyne as well. So there's a lot of creation going on there. And I think Rashford's like Sterling, a bit more of a forward winger. And we probably need a creator on the right-hand side. And longer term, I think Greenwood's the striker anyway. More thoughts on Thomas Tuchel getting to a final before Ali, says Praveen. He's a good man. He's a good manager, you know. He's a good man. You know, I just want to say to. I don't think that. I want to word this correctly because I want to be respectful to people who might have a different opinion. But I don't think that Tuchel getting to the final automatically relates to Solskjaer. We could get to a final in the next few weeks. So a race to a final, is that really relevant? We're second in the league. We were third last year. I mean, you're talking about Chelsea. We finished above Chelsea last year. We're going to finish above Chelsea this year in the league. And I would argue that a 38-game league season shows more consistent quality than cup football does, because you play everybody twice and everybody's in the same boat. Now, Tuchel's only just come into the job and he's done fantastically well. And the way he coached them today was fantastic. The way they were passing the ball around in the first hour against Man City under a press from Man City was ridiculous. The way they took care of the ball. And look, you know, I don't rate Chilwell, but he actually played really well. Reece James played well. Their centre-backs played well. Their holding midfielders played well. Their forward players played well. They were very confident on the ball. They were knocking it around, and that comes from the coach. So if you want to compare Tuchel to Ollie as a coach, then I think that Tuchel is showing what a very good coach he is in relation to getting his team playing the way he wants it to get played. I'm not going to talk about him getting to a final and start saying all this, that and the other. I think the more relevant point is a lot of people have spent the last couple of days, it was mentioned in the press conference, this next week is United's first week off in ages. They've been playing 3 games a week for 6 months. And it's had a massive impact on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being able to adapt his tactics or get United to play a certain brand of football. Bollocks. 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 Tuchel came into that job in January. No break. No international break. No mid-season break. Miles off top 4. Champions League no-hopers. He's took him to a Champions League semi-final, an FA Cup final, and got him into the top 4 race, playing numerous different formations with numerous different players. So you don't need a week off to change your tactics when a manager in London has come into a new team that he knows nothing about, with an unhappy squad and a massive squad, kept everybody happy, and took them to a final and a semi-final, and got them back in a top 4 race. So that's the relevant thing for me. Whether he wins an FA Cup or gets to a final or what, I think they will win the FA Cup now. And I think Chelsea have got this enviable habit of picking up trophies. But I think more relevant is probably to query how we need 3 years to find a way to play. I remember Ollie saying a few weeks ago, it takes time to get where we want to get in the relation to how we want to play. And yet Tuchel comes in and does it in a matter of weeks. The only excuse can be that his coaches are better than our coaches, which is probably true, because we're a work in progress. But our work in progress is taking a lot longer than others. But that's what we bought into when we appointed Ollie. And he said it himself, they're a work in progress. But it doesn't mean that work in progress is justified to take as long as it does. But we already know we're a work in progress. So I don't know what people are talking about when they're saying, oh, does it worry you that Tuchel's got to a final before Ollie? But Tuchel's proven he is a better coach and has better coaches than United because he's done it a lot quicker than us. But we know this. So why do we keep going over old ground? I saw people on Twitter today saying, well, this just proves that sacking a manager works because sack your manager, you get to a final. But we don't need to sack our manager because you were all singing Ollie's at the wheel for an inexperienced manager. And now you want to get rid of him because it's taking time. But it was always going to take time. And third to second is progress. And if we get to Europa League final, it's progress. I think until the progress dips, you're going to have to stick with the manager that you sang Ollie's at the wheel for. That's certainly how I feel. Do I think he's going to be the right man? I don't know. Probably not. I don't think so. But I'm going to get behind him. I'm going to stick with him because the progress is clear. There probably is going to be a dip, and at some point he probably is going to get the sack, but I hope that's not going to be the case. Just a thought, Mark, but if Rashi's unfit for tomorrow, can we try Pogba, Van der Beek and Gavardi as the front three and Bruno as 10? Ollie won't do it, but it will work, says Amit. I think there's lots of things we could wipe. There's lots of things, yeah. I think, just to close that chapter, Ancelotti's a better coach than Ollie. Tuchel's a better coach than Ollie. Klopp and Pep are a better coach than Ollie. We can't, even as Ollie in us, we can't sit here and say he's the best coach in the Premier League because he's not. But we sung Ollie's at the wheel. And I know some of these people who are adamantly Ollie out and they were jumping around going, Ollie's at the wheel. And now they're going to go, no, I'm not at the wheel anymore. Sack him and get somebody else in. Well, that's your choice. But third to second in the league and hopefully going to win a Europa League is progress. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you've not seen what's going to happen like a psychic, but now isn't the time. And we can't keep comparing him to Tuchel or Pep or Klopp because he himself, only 2 months ago, said him and his coaches are a work in progress, which is what we knew. We knew we were doing that. So we're just going to have to be a little bit more patient. Are we forgetting the squad Thomas has as well? Well, yeah, he has got a fantastic squad sack in, and he has inherited a squad that's better than ours. He has got a better board as well. But look, they're not his players. James Lappage, welcome to the members club. Thank you for that. I just think we're just going to have to see where we are next season. I keep saying this to everybody, whether you're Ollie in, Ollie out, Ollie out. Next season will prove everything. And before then, you're just stressing yourself out one way or the other. And I think you are. We're just going to have to be patient until next season. And that's when we will find out. If Ollie loses the Europa League, how is it progress, Mark, says Jay Ling's fan? Because we'll be second in the league, mate. And last year we were third and we didn't get to a final. So it's progress. Look, is it the progress I want? If I could be honest with you now, I personally think... Well, I can't understand how anybody would disagree with me here. Getting to the Champions League quarter-final and losing is better than winning the Europa League. Might be a controversial opinion, but it's a factual opinion. Because if we hadn't got knocked out of the Champions League, which we shouldn't have done, and then we got knocked out in the quarter-finals by, I don't know, Bayern Munich, that would be progress with second league more than second in the league and the Europa League anyway. So why is the Europa League suddenly this big thing? It's a trophy, but it's a trophy we're going to win because we bantered ourselves in the Champions League. Getting to the quarter-final of the Champions League would have been better progress for us than winning the Europa League because we're only in the Europa League because we failed in the Champions League. Whereas I think quarter-finals of the Champions League is what we all said at the start of the season would be a good first season return to the Champions League. So we've all got our own opinions, that's life. But I just think wherever anybody is, and it's your choice, we're not going to get the answer that you want one way or another until next season. He ain't going to get sacked. He's going to get a new contract. We don't know whether he's going to be backed in the summer, but if the results go well next year and we keep progressing, we could be onto something really special. And if they drop, he'll be gone. And that's what will happen. And there'll be fans back in the ground next year and everything will be much more scrutinised. Welcome to the Members Club. Toby, thank you very much. Let's have a look what else is other people are saying. How about Carvajal to Man United? I will always back the manager at United. True fans do back the manager in all the time. I've supported them, says Music. Well, I don't agree with you on that one. I don't like true fans. I don't like that statement. And I don't think win, lose or draw, back your team and back your managers is actually a very clever way to be, because that's not the way I was brought up. That's not the way it's been when I've been to Old Trafford either. You know, there is accountability. It's an entertainment business. This football club means something. You can't just celebrate mediocrity, and you certainly can't celebrate failure. And all these people who say, oh, win, lose or draw, back your manager and back your players. Well, Solskjaer wouldn't agree with that. Sir Alex wouldn't agree with that. Roy Keane wouldn't agree with that. The class of 92 wouldn't agree with that. There are standards at this football club, and we shouldn't celebrate failure. So, you know, I think that support your team, yes, but demand it to be where it needs to be, yes. And this football club is not where it needs to be, and that is because of the owners. City lost, very happy, says AK. Definitely. There's no Grand Theft Auto tonight, it's tomorrow night. Nick Dawson says, let's be honest, you're only second because of Liverpool have been decimated by injuries, not because Ollie has progressed. But Nick, you know, if you'd had an Indian takeaway tonight instead of steak and chips, you'd have had an Indian takeaway. You didn't. You had steak and chips. Hypothetical, I don't know what you had. But if Liverpool hadn't done this, they'd have been second. Well, they did. And we're second. So we are where we are. It's a 38-game season. Everybody's been in the same situation. If Liverpool hadn't left themselves exposed, as I was speaking about a few minutes ago, this was always going to happen to Liverpool. Their squad's not very deep. You cannot play the amount of football they've played over the last 3 years and not expect to have a bit of a burnout. So maybe Liverpool should have seen it coming. If Chelsea had Tuchel in at the start of the season, they'd be above us. Well, they didn't. They went with Lampard. If Spurs hadn't bottled loads of leads and sat back and defended, well, they've Mourinho as their manager. You know, what's Arsenal's excuse for being mid-table? Like, we are where we are, and we deserve to be where we are. Is it where I want to be? No. Is the football what I want it to be? No. But we can't hide and pretend that there's we've been gifted 40 points, and that's why we're in second place. Sal Jones, Delo, Bay, Lindelof, James, Scott, Martial, Matic, Mata, De Gea, Henderson, Lone, Ahmed, Williams, Biver, Nav. I'm going to have to stop. It's not realistic, is it? Your list is too big. When Tuchel took over Chelsea, they were 9 points behind Manchester United. They are now 9 points behind Manchester United, says Tommy Erlinson. Yeah. But they're also in a Champions League semi-final. We're not. And they're also in an FA Cup final. We're not in either of those. And he came into the team in smack in the middle of the season. So I think that there is progress at Chelsea. I don't know what the point is there. There's definitely progress. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, says Karan. I like it. You're talking about United having standards, and you said you're okay with second place in the league and losing Europa final, says Alex K9. Maybe. I mean, it's a super chat. Thank you very much, but I don't get your point, Alex. I'm not Father Christmas. I can't magic the title. I live in a real world. I live in a world where at the start of the season I said we won't get top four, and now we're second place. Of course I'm okay with it, because I think it's exceeding what we're meant to do. And the reason that we are a team that I predicted would not get top four is because of our board, not because of our players, not because of our manager. So of course I'm okay with second place, because I didn't think it was possible. So I have to say fair play to the manager and fair play to the players for getting a second place from a position I thought we couldn't do it. So of course I'm okay with it. I don't want to be second, but I'm a realist. The club ain't winning a title. I'm not going to be a dickhead. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm so pissed off. Oh, what a bunch of prats. We're not winning the league. Of course we're not bloody winning the league. We're nowhere near good enough to win the league. So of course I'm okay with second place, because it's better than the fifth place I thought it was going to be. We've got to demand better, but we're only fans. We can't demand to win the title. We're not going to win the title next year either. So I don't really get your point, Alex. I've got standards, and I've been very, very vocal about what our standards are. But I can't expect us to win the league when we've got no chance of winning it. So I actually think second place in the circumstances is okay. Of course I don't want United to be there. I'm not going to celebrate it. When have I ever said I'm going to celebrate it? When we get second place, I'm not going to bloody get my shirt off and start singing the theme tune to Neighbours. I'm not celebrating second place. And what did I also said? I said if we get second place and win the Europa League, but Man City win the treble, I'll be furious. Because what's to celebrate? If rival fans mock and hate Ollie, it shows you we were right. We are right now. A manager who doesn't deserve to be a Man United manager, says J Links fan. Talking eventualities is like chasing your tail. Things could have been different if different things happened. Genius, says JB. Who would you want? Leeds, Rafinha? And if you do, what would you offer? I do like Rafinha, FCUP. I do like Rafinha. I think he's very consistent in the Premier League as well. I heard people talking about St Maximin when I was doing the watch along for the Chelsea game, and I'm like, St Maximin's a good player, but I think he's ridiculously inconsistent. From what I've seen of Rafinha, he's far more consistent. So I do like Rafinha. I think you'd probably get him for about 40 million. It's very difficult to beat City to the title with the resources we have. Couldn't be more concise, DJ United. You're absolutely spot on. The failure that United have had over the last few years is 100% with the board. Mark, can you ever imagine a scenario where Ollie would quit the job? No. I think he's like probably most of you. Would you walk out on Manchester United, or would you try and hope that you can do it? Hi Mark, while I was studying in Amsterdam for the past 7 months, watching your videos allowed me to keep my sanity. Thanks a lot and take care, says Admiral K. Thanks for the super chat, mate, and that's really good to hear. Can you call my friend Milo a prat? Cheers, says Mackenzie John. Milo, you're a prat, apparently. Do you think it's a stroke of genius from Ollie playing Pogba on the left so he has less defensive responsibility and more freedom to get forward, says Sham. Hey, I'm open to that interpretation. If somebody thinks it's a stroke of genius, then I'm more than happy to allow it and get behind it. But if you want my honest answer, I think it's not a stroke of genius because we've already seen it before. We saw it at Anfield, and at Anfield we weren't trying to attack. He was just shoehorning Pogba into the team because he wanted to play McFred. So I personally don't think it's tactical genius. I think he's done it before in games where we weren't going to attack. So I don't think it's that. I think it's about getting Paul Pogba into the team whilst also picking McFred. But look, I'd like to be wrong on that, but I can only be honest. I hate to say it, but we need to be more like City next season, rotating players like Twansebi, trying Donny in positions and see if he impresses. Ben, this is the way forward. This is the way. Within football now. You look at Man City today, I know they lost, but Mahrez never came on, Sterling started, Silva never came on, Gundogan didn't start, Foden didn't start, Stones didn't start, yet they still had Torres, they still had Jesus, they still had Sterling, they still had De Bruyne, they still had Fernandinho, they still had Rodri, they still had Mendy playing, they had Cancelo at right back, Laporte and Diaz. I mean, what a team, and then what a bench. But what Pep doesn't do, what Ollie does do, is if Pep's first team is Diaz, if his first choice centre-backs are Diaz and Stones, he doesn't never pick Laporte. And if his first choice midfield is Rodri, Gundogan and De Bruyne, he doesn't never pick Fernandinho or use Bernardo Silva or Sterling or whoever. He rotates regularly, and we do need to do that. And Twansebi should have played more football, and Van der Beek should have played more football. He's got to rotate more. Some people think, well, he does make a lot of subs, but rotation. Like somebody was saying to me that Ollie makes more subs than Pep, but I bet when you look at the teams, Pep might make 3 or 4 changes to his starting lineup. Ollie won't. So the subs thing is irrelevant because Pep's rotation is happening with his team, with his team selection, and we do need to be better at that. It should be us losing to Chelsea in the final. I never sang Ollie at the wheel. Don't like ex-players managing the club due to too much diversity, says Mike Carolan. Fancy any Italian players, says Clip City. I wouldn't mind Chiesa. I like Tonali. Everyone knows that. I like Verratti. I don't think we will bring any Italian players to the club. Do you think Phil Jones will actually get sold? No. No, I don't think he will go, because why would anybody pay Phil Jones £80,000 a week? Only an idiot would do that. Which is why Man United did it. He's still got, I think, 3 years left on his contract, which is about £4 million a year, which is £12 million. So, look, if you're Phil Jones, he's not played for a year anyway. So he's not going to be somebody like Lingard that's like, well, I just want to play. He's used to not playing. And he knows he's got 3 years left on his contract. And, you know, he might not have a career after football. You know, is he going to be a pundit? I doubt it. So Phil Jones can't walk away from 12 million quid. And there's no football club that's going to pay him 12 million quid to come to their club. So I think United are stuck with Phil Jones, to be honest. And I think what will happen with Phil Jones is we'll be sold on, oh, he's back, we need to use him, and we'll have to use him. But obviously, I don't think Solskjaer wants to use him, but I think we'll have to use him because we can't get rid of him, because it was a stupid contract to give in the first place. What is your opinion of buying Vasquez for free from Madrid? I don't rate him, Sumya. I don't rate him. I think he's Madrid's Lingard. I don't think they're similar players, but I think he's Madrid's Lingard. I think he's a player that, you know, he's always thereabouts, but he never really breaks into the team. How was your celebratory pint after the game? I've not had it yet, Jacob, because I've been so busy. I'm going to go and have it now. I'm actually stone cold sober. So, no. Just terminate his contract and someone else can get him on low wages. Yeah, but it costs us £12 million to do that, Hader. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to pay £12 million to terminate his contract. It's like De Gea in a better way, isn't it? De Gea is a very, very good goalkeeper, as we know, but we need to remove one of our goalkeepers in the summer. De Gea's got about 3 years left on his contract at £18 million a year. That's like £40 million in wages that De Gea's going to earn. And people are talking about selling him. It's a lot of money. A lot of money that we tie ourselves up into. Unfortunately. Would you ever do a Formula 1 watch-along? I tell you what, I'm going to answer this for the very last time. I will never do a Formula 1 watch-along because they always clash with Premier League football. So there's no point in me doing it. And people will now say, well, no, there's one tomorrow or something, but I can't. What's the point in doing one Formula 1 watch-along and then I can't do the next 4 because of football? They clash with football. Mark, why do you think Ollie didn't rate Lukaku? Says Jay Ling's fam. I think it's because of his style of football. I think Lukaku's a penalty box striker, and I think Ollie realised he needed a striker that can run the channels and hold the ball up and link up, and Lukaku couldn't do it. I think it was down to that simple, to be honest. COVID's bad in India. I'm sorry to hear that, Sports HQ. Look, it's not going anywhere, COVID, at the moment. It's still out there, so it's very important that wherever you're watching from, and I know we've got a worldwide audience, that you stay safe and you take care. Anyway, I think I'll end the show on that one because that's not normally what I say at the end. Please smash a like on the video, put a smile on your face. There is no treble that will go to Manchester City this season, and the one that they think they're going to get is a crap one. The Carabao Cup is not a treble. The FA Cup, the Premier League and the Champions League is the treble, and they bottled it. So that's a good thing. Wish we had a bench like City. We are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we have a bench of championship players and players past their best, says Ben Thornton. We'll be back in the morning with the news show. Remember, Sunday morning show is always interesting because in the UK we get different stories coming in on from the weeklies. And then tomorrow afternoon we've got the match with Burnley. I think is it a 4 o'clock kickoff tomorrow? Hold your horses. Hold your horses. Let's have a look. 4 o'clock kickoff tomorrow, so that's a little bit better actually. 4 o'clock kickoff tomorrow, so we'll be live at about 2:30 for that. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Enjoy your evening, especially with Man City not winning. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and I'll speak to you all in the morning. Have a great evening or day. Stay safe, stay well, and take care.